Hello and welcome to another scene set in Odessa: The Dark Crusade, Season 2. As we begin this scene with, in the center of Oryx Haven, where he was just going to reintroduce Irene to the ground floor of this building. Unfortunately, she is AFK for the moment. So instead, we will move the scene's focus to what is immediately going on outside. Oh no, we don't. God freaking damn it. Yes, Irene is being moved downstairs. After being cleaned up a little bit, she awoke with not looking too great and messy, and has been a right bloody nuisance for the servants to deal with. But everything is back in order, or is getting back into order, and any, perhaps, shall we say, unnatural feeling she might harbor towards certain figures has since passed. Permanently this time. And messages have been sent, arrangements have been made, and Ulrich's little assignment is coming to a close, and Celine has arranged to pick up her child and is currently on her way here. Madeleine, for her part, also wishes to have a word with members of the clan and also appears to be on her way, although whether Madeleine and Celine bump into each other on the way is anybody's guess. There's also someone else in the shadows who seems to carry it wherever he goes. I would presume that person uses their tenebrous form to get into the Nobles District, because it is a gated community and there is no way the guards are letting that person in when they're consuming torchlight. So I assume he just breaks in, for simplicity's sake and convenience. But yes, Celine, you're on your way. Irene, you are in Ulrich's living room, having your daily dose of blood tea.
Yay.
Yeah, I imagine that's pretty much what she'd be like.
Yay! Yay!
Yay! I'm happy.
Madeline will just. If the gate guards are around and about, she'll wait to be let in, but she'll just wait, and as soon as she's let in, she will just wait around to see if see where people are.
I'm assuming I get let in, probably much to suspicion as my shadow does freaky things to the guards, basically. You know, I get let in after much side eye.
Yeah, you kind of have to dominate an asshole too.
Yeah, the usual dribble drabble.
Yeah, Ulrich isn't here to kind of give you clearance this time, but since you've already entered the gated community once, and they know you have ties to people in the area, they're less inclined to screw you over. They might want some extra cash for their trouble.
Whatever gets me in. She's not fussed. It's just like whatever, you know. There you go.
Bribery happens.
Yeah,
you're fine. They're still creeped out, but you're fine. Yeah, you're allowed into the gated community. I assume via some means of transportation and not walking like a filthy commoner.
Yep, she'll mosey in.
Madeleine, you filthy commoner. How do you get in?
She will walk up and say that she is expected. They have, after all, seen her before.
This is true. They've seen you several times at this point. They will still ask who by, however, because they have a job to do.
She will give a name. And do you want me to roll something, or?
Sure, let's make this interesting.
What do you want me to roll?
Manipulation, empathy. You're fine.
She will appeal to their good nature and their dedication to their jobs.
You are way, way, way less suspect than everyone else they've had to deal with recently. So, and they've actually seen you before. So, yeah, they're much less inclined to just toss you out, even though you don't look necessarily like a noble woman, although you are beautiful. That perhaps helps. But yes, you're let in. And yeah, the gate closes behind you as it did Celine. Orsini, I'll just give you this. You're very much aware that if you go up to them, there is no way they're going to let you in, because as soon as all that light goes out, they're going to go, what the fuck is happening mode, and just lock this whole area down. However, you have several ways of getting in that aren't necessarily legal.
Can I at least have a hunting roll to make up for the blood for Tenebrous Avatar?
Sure. We can say you hunt before this scene.
Let's see.
What you rolling and where you hunting?
Give me a second because I have it written down.
If you're hunting socially, it's +4 difficulty because Harbinger of the Abyss is a bitch.
Hunting in the Merchant District, appearance subterfuge, +5. There's 1 from the Clan Flaw, 4 from Harbinger, and -2 from Dominate. That gives me a difficulty of 7.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, 2 successes.
Yeah, you get 2 blood. So you make up for some of the lost blood you're going to use this evening. Not quite all of it. You're still dry blood point, but that's hardly an issue. You're generally well fed to begin with, so. But yeah, you're just able, if you want to just use Tenebrous Form, I'll say it's not really hard. This place has a heavy City Watch presence, but they can't be everywhere, and you can literally slip beneath the cracks. You can go over the wall, you can go underneath it, to an extent. There's a lot you can do to get through this building in ways that they literally cannot spot you. About half a dozen ways with this form, so I'm just going to say you can, because they don't have infrared vision. And also you melt with the shadows really nicely. It helps that you carry the darkness with you in this instance. But yes, you're on your way to what you recognize as Oryx's stated haven.
Are you waiting for a reaction from me or what?
Yeah, I'm just trying to. Do you just go all the way there? I was thinking you might describe like how you get there, but if not, it's fine. you do the just shadow. You basically fly like a Death Eater. Celine, Madeleine, you two are the first to arrive.
Yep.
Madeline and Orsini or Celine?
Celine and Madeleine, because you two can actually get in through the gates without any issue.
Madeline will just say, good evening.
Zeno smiled warmly. Good evening.
How have these last few nights been?
They have been interesting, very interesting. She'll just smile to herself.
I suppose you could say that. I heard some concerning things.
There have been many concerning things around the city. However, they have been handled. And she'll smile.
May I ask you why did you not come forward with this?
She'll twist her head. Smile again. I came to Ulrich. He is the hound. I thought he would be the most appropriate one. After all, I had planned to meet you after once I discovered the origins of our suspect. And she smiled to herself.
Very well. Do you mind if I go with you? I would like to see that Irene is well.
She'll turn very, very slowly and will smile. I plan not to meet him directly. After all, Bruja have a way of, well, capturing something. And she'll smile.
Oh, no, you misunderstand. I merely wish to follow you here to see Irene.
Oh, well then you may accompany me with no worries, Madeleine. And she'll smile warmly.
Mela will just nod, and they will walk slowly. Mela won't say much, and she will just ask you, like, how you're doing and how the nights have, in general, been.
Oh yeah, she'll be
Small.
quite polite. She'll be quite polite and be telling her about the dinner ball she's planning to have, and very just idle conversation, basically.
And as the two of them talk, behind them, flowing from a crack in the wall or a window or something along those lines, you see a thick, dark, pitch-like shadow dropping on the floor and materializing into the hooded shape of Fabio Orsini. He looks first at Celine, Lady Argyris. Lady Alexandris, sorry. Lady Alexandris. A pleasure. And he looks at Madeleine, sister. And as he says that, he takes his hood off. I do believe you told him.
So, who are we talking about?
We are in his house after all.
I asked him, yes.
You're currently approaching his house. You're not just inside, but yes, you are near. You can see the little walled off estate in the door behind the gate.
It would seem that Celine took this matter to Ulrich.
Did he not make you aware? She'll raise an eyebrow quite curiously.
No, did not.
That is very worrying.
The four of us shall speak when we see Ulrich. It is best.
She'll just smile and fold her arms in her dress and keep walking.
The three of them will just approach Ulrich's house, and if they can be let in, they will do so.
Yeah, you knock on the door and you see Ulrich open it. And then he looks a bit weirded out because he was expecting one person and there are three. Good evening.
Good evening, brother. Hope the night finds you well.
Such a pleasure to see you again, Ulrich. And she'll smile and curtsy.
A pleasure to see you again. I must admit, I was only expecting one guest. To what do I owe the pleasure?
I do believe our sister told you about my concerns, brother.
There is a sort of, kind of like, of recognition but lacking in enthusiasm, but hey, he lets you in anyway.
Madeline
I
is,
see, then by all means, come on in.
Madeline
Irene
is
is in
looking
the
slightly
main
more
living
concerned
room.
now.
Your concern is not noted. You're all shuffled into the house. You can go where you please, apart from upstairs, which Auric, has cordoned off with a single ghoul there.
She's very calmly looking over. Where is Irene?
I'm in the room. You come messages down the hall.
She'll smile. If with your permission, may I?
Of course. If I may
Smile.
have a moment with you, walk and talk.
Of course.
And he'll turn to Madeleine and we'll see and say, Lady Argyri will be out in a moment. And he will, begin walking with Celine, as he will
she'll
say.
just walk off. Yeah, Celine will wait for him to speak first, obviously. You know.
I must say your child is very well behaved. I haven't had any issues with her thus far. The worst I've witnessed since our first contact is perhaps a few unsettling dreams. She's had a rough couple of nights, but other than that, she is at full operating capacity. I believe the influence that has been cast over her has since dissipated.
That is very good to hear. Very good to hear. She'll smile. I have begun working on towards giving him a suitable message for his crime. Just smile at him.
That's good to hear. She has made contact with my own child. They seem to get along well. It was if I may to take her mind off things after
That
one
is
of
good.
her.
That is good. Perhaps the four of us can arrange more. Merchant District is often very nice at night. Just smile at him.
Oh yes, absolutely. I would be most pleased if it could find a means to cooperate.
She'll just smile at him. We will see. And, we'll wait by the door for him to open with this big smile on her face.
Ulrich will open the door. It creaks open widely. So chilly inside. It wasn't this cold before. That's strange. But yes, Irene is. Well, what is Irene doing in this living room?
She was probably reading a book, but as the door opens, she will put it on the table and rise. When she sees who is entering, she will curtsy. Lord Ulrich, Lady Alexandris, a pleasure to see you both.
It is a pleasure to see you as well. You should smile.
Ulrich simply bows to her.
Selena just walk up and just inspect Irene from side to side with the edge of her thumb.
Yes, she'll stay perfectly silent for that.
Do you wish to come home, or do you prefer Lord Ulrich's company?
Lord Ulrich has been a very generous host, Lady Alexandris, but if you are ready to receive me, I would very much like to return home.
Then it will be that way. Even Lord Orsini and Madeleine are here to see that you are well. And she'll just give her a smile.
Oh, that is so nice of them.
Of course, they are our clan after all. Nothing but niceness comes from members of our clan. And she'll give a smile over to Ulrich.
Ulrich will smile back and nod in affirmation. So he'll make a roll. Fortune is a specialty in this. I just call it bullshitting. Well, he got 3 10s. I don't think. Okay, he got 1 1. So that takes. So he literally. Does anyone here have 8 dice in perception empathy?
Nope.
I don't think so.
Then none of you have to roll. He looks completely convincing in every possible facet.
Actually, I might be able to beat that, but yeah, I'm just gonna try. I have 8 dice.
Are you there?
Okay.
Oh, damn it.
Well, you make a first stab at it, to be honest. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 successes, but it's not 8.
God damn it. But I'm not there, so never mind.
I might be I was gonna say I might be a little bit confused there, but
That's true, yeah. Yeah, you guys can't actually make the roll.
I was just
unless
like,
you've literally
Chris
followed
was just
them.
like, you can't beat this. And I was like, watch me do it. But
okay, fair enough.
I mean, to be fair, you got 5 out of 8. That's not too bad. That's 5 out of 7, right?
God damn it, Chris. God damn it.
God. But yes. Ulrich is, well, you know him, you love him. Everybody loves Ulrich. And that is pretty much what you get.
Lady Alexandris, I bought you a gift.
We will wait till we are home for Sassy. But now, concentrate on packing your things and getting ready to leave. Of course, once everyone has stopped fussing over you. Just smile.
My servants can arrange for this.
Thank you, my lord.
Consider the gown a souvenir.
Are you sure? It is very beautiful. It is too much of an honor to receive such a gift after everything that you've done.
I appreciate the sentiment, and it is indeed beautiful. However, I think you'll find I'm very much incapable of wearing such garments.
She is. There's like a smile, just kind of like bursting through her like polite facade. I think you. I think the dress would not do you justice, Lord Ulrich.
One can only hope. Perhaps you'll have more luck with it than I.
Thank you, my lord.
You're very welcome. However, I believe we are in fact keeping my other two guests waiting. So if both of you are more ready, I might escort you back to the main chambers of this building.
Yeah, Selena just intertwine her arm with Irene and hold on to her hand and walk behind Ulrich.
Follow me. And yeah, he'll take you back into the main room. And lo and behold, Madeleine and Orsini, there is now an Irene with Celine.
Without making a roll, you can both see that there is kind of a concerned, maybe even nervous look on Madeline's face.
Irene will curtsy very politely to these two Ancellas. Lady Madeline, Lord Orsini, it is a pleasure of seeing the both of you.
Madeline just nods, smiles, and then she just looks over at Orsini.
Oh, please, everybody, feel free to take a seat. I can acquire us refreshments if you so wish.
Yeah, Selena, take some tea. Fuck it. Sit down.
It's lovely.
Yeah,
Here's money.
Orsini takes a seat as well and starts tapping on the table with his fingers.
Mark is kind of off at this period of time. He's acquiring you refreshments.
So, sister, Orsini says as he looks straight into Madeline. Not at Madeline, into Madeline. There's that much hatred in his eyes. You consider this as being the matter settled?
She doesn't say anything. You want to talk with her, talk with her.
Here's your tea. Here's yours. Or it takes a seat.
Well, did he know or not?
He did. Celine said it herself. She informed him of this situation and had Ulrich help her, which could, depending on how you look at it, could explain what we did not know.
Selena, keep sipping that tea.
Or it just sits on the good chair and starts reading a book like an old man.
And you see Orsini fighting back the urge to start shouting and pointing fingers. Lady Alexandris, pray tell,
Yes, Lord Orsini.
how did a member of another clan entrance your chowder?
Well, just say, putting down the teacup, while I was off investigating the disappearances in the slums, Irene every day goes to pray. It keeps up the facade, of course. During this walk, she was approached and led away. Her ladies were sent home, who usually go with her, and, well, the unpleasant details are best unsaved, but forced to drink his blood against her will. Once I found out the situation, the matter was handled, staked, and then brought to Ulrich. As one should with a hound, of course. She'll smile and sip her tea.
And how, pray tell, were you planning on dealing with this matter?
Oh, I'm going to starve him out of his little cave. I already have two people that are very eager to make him pay. Doing so right now, in fact. I am merely waiting for the result.
Let's just say that I had a talk with this Father Louis, as he calls himself. Apparently, he's an acquaintance of our sister.
Raises an eyebrow.
Well,
didn't.
if you by acquaintance mean that I met him once, well, met him once in Elysium and then once on our own, then yes, acquaintance.
From what I gathered, he was new in the city. Recently
Well,
arrived.
As I said, dear sister, I called him your acquaintance and not your friend. How many times you met him is of little matter now. And regardless where he came from, our traditions are the same. The fact that he managed to corrupt your child is a stain on the image of the whole clan, trying to retaliate via one mean or the other against this Father Louis could spell conflict with the Bruja. Internal conflict inside the triumvirate is something I'd rather have avoided.
Jim nod. It is a valid concern. However, from what I gather, and what Ulrich has told me, very, very offended if they know of this act. In fact, if we play this the carefully way, this is a mere outsider who does not understand the laws of this city. A sombre bee if we did not answer it.
I'd advise you to remember, Lady Alexandris, that you are an outsider as well. Unlike me or Madeleine or Ulrich, who have helped build the city from scratch. Your face is new. I would not trust the word of another before the word of any of my clan. But the things that this Father Louis communicated to me are of some concern. I pride myself in being a fine judge of character. He did not lie.
What has Father Louis said? She just smirks.
That first and foremost, he was not aware that she was still a fledgling, and he was not aware of her clan. Firstly. Secondly, he, without much inquiry, decided to share with me the fact that your fledgling proved herself to be of unsound mind. He was visiting me in my haven. He had no reason to lie to me.
Whether he was aware or not, the crime is still committed, and however unsound mind that he altered Of course, she was of unsound mind. After all, he made her kill someone. For sport.
If we start condemning people for hunting the kind for sport, we'd have to kill off half of the low clans and some of the high clans as well. What he did to her after he bonded her is another matter. The matter here is that if your fledgling was adequately supervised, this would not have happened.
Adequately supervised. She just nods, sipping her tea again. No, you're correct. I made an error in judgment in dealing with many of the affairs of the clan. I relied on Irene to be capable. She will look Irene dead in the face. That is my error in judgment, Lord Orsini, but it will not happen again. How to handle the situation, this will be handled quietly, I assure you.
I see no reason why you should channel your anger towards your child. You are, after all, still able to be held accountable for what she does, unless between now and the last time we saw each other, you happen to release her.
No, I have not released her. Not at all. She is mine.
Then the point still stands. If you are to behold.
And what would you think should happen then? That she should be taken off me? And she'll raise an eyebrow.
At least for a time, until you can prove responsible enough to handle your children.
She'll laugh and look at Ulrich, raising an eyebrow.
I see that the image of our clan inside the city is a laughing matter to you.
It is not a laughing matter. However, the laughing matter I find is you telling me to do when you can't even enter the Zamitsi domain without insulting them, Lord Orsini. She'll just smile.
I managed to visit the Zamitsi in their homelands and got away unscathed. The fact that the Zamitsi of Edessa are a bit short-tempered and a bit more protective is my concern alone. The fact that after everything that the three of us did for the city, I feel no reason why I should announce my presence in a matter of utmost secrecy that received the blessing of our seneschal is my concern alone.
And who settled the matter for you? Who made sure the Primogen knew that you were there in the utmost of confidence? That it was a misunderstanding as part of the clan. That you serve best interests. Myself, because you are of my clan, and the image is everything to me. She'll smile.
I doubt that your word weighs heavier than that of our seneschal.
The Zamitsi came to domain, happy to have negotiations with us. Through my actions. The seneschal must. But I made sure that both the soft and the firm of his word was there.
And who gave you the authority to negotiate on behalf of the clan?
I was told by any means necessary to make sure alliances were worked in the first meeting we had in this city. In fact, I have secured alliances with both the Malkavians and the Nosferatu based off that meeting we had. For our clan.
With two of the low clans who would cling to anything to get a bit more power in the city after their fall 100 years ago.
And we will still negotiate as an individual. he says as he's reading his book.
Who knows the city underground better than the Nosferatu, Lord Orsini? And plus, growth is very good when nurtured and controlled. And we in Clan La Sombra always nurture and control every growth in cities. Don't we not?
I have doubts about nurturing and controlling when it comes to Lady Alexanders. If nurturing and
Perhaps
controlling were your fortes, we wouldn't have this conversation now.
Probably not. But it is the way it is. And responsibility along with Ulrich and discussed it with Ulrich as my fault. And I will most assuredly not let this matter affect the clan again. You should look at Irene, who most assuredly prove herself among all of you as our equal in time.
What she does is your problem. And sooner or later, it's going to be her problem. My problem is that there's a member of another clan that used one of our brood as a plaything. And that thing, that little accident, might have been seen, and the rumor can spread. We have enough enemies in the city without making fools of ourselves, as it is. The fact
that is why you do not know, or Ulrich deemed it so. That is why I have kept quiet and worked very silently. That is why only now are we having this discussion. I think you will find. You should probably look at Ulrich like, I'm assuming I'm on the right direction there, Ulrich,
And that is why instead of hearing it from one of my own clan, I hear it from the mouth of a bruja.
The very man who did it. Man who very soon will learn the price of his actions. How do you not know he's trying to sway you right now, Orsini?
You think a bruja has the power or the influence to sway me against my own clan? I am my own man and I make my own decisions.
That is one of their abilities. Ulrich just states as he reads from his book.
I appreciate the lesson, brother, but I have traveled much in the past century and met a lot of elders. And this Father Louis is none of them. He is cunning, I'll give him that. But if he even had the slightest inclination of using the powers of the blood against me within my own haven, I could assure you, and I can assure you time and time again, that he would not have lived to tell the tale.
Instead, he has sent you here almost with misdirected passion. I think that's a far more cleverer strategy, wouldn't you say?
He did not send me here. I came here out of my own volition to settle a matter that concerns the clan. The fact that you have one bruja who could be paranoid enough that he'd be searching for allies, telling twisted versions of the story, is going to weigh down upon us. He could be going to the prince for all we know. He could be going to the primogen. He could be going to the... And he basically spits, but nothing comes out. Ventru, or the Tremere, for all we know. This is what concerns me.
So far, my sources say nothing. Not a peep. So either he's waiting, or he does not know who they are to go to yet.
Word travels fast in the poorer districts of this area.
And who, Lord Orsini, holds domain over the South Wall slums? Pray tell.
Well, I know this Father Louis claims domain on the riverside. The slums are not the only poor areas.
True, but who regularly ventures in there from what I've seen in Riverside? The Malkavians do. I've met 4 members of the clan in Riverside alone. And with the working out of the Primogen, she assures me that no ill word of my clan has spread throughout the city. She does not know the details, but she knows that we have enemies. Not know which, but knows enemies are around. She smiled.
I hardly find the Malkavians trustworthy sources. They speak in riddles, to say the least.
They do. However, you have to merely entice, and they will eat it out of your hand. Lord Orsini, you smile.
The matter still stands. I see 2 issues in front of me. An ancilla of Clan Bruja, who is legitimately scared for his well-being, for what could be a more or less innocent joke. After all, Irene could have been anyone's child from any clan. She was just a neonate or a fledgling strolling around the city without proper supervision. And I do not wish for this Bruja who came into our domain, into my house, out of his own volition, confessing to what he did, to lose his head on such a trivial matter. He might prove an ally. We have so few of them.
Ally. He comes begging for his life because he thinks he can sway. The fact of the matter is, it is not some other clan, it is ours, and he should be rightly scared for his judgment.
It is this why I did not reassure him that he will not.
He is Ancilla.
From what I can tell, he walks a stranger path. Some of them turn canines into hedonists. He merely found a toy and wished to play. Not all of us are God-fearing in this world, Lady Alexandris.
Whether that or not, he will learn. I'm sure you will agree.
And whether this Bruja lives or dies is of little importance to me. The fact that this can become a great scandal is what concerns me. And the second thing is that no matter how you dress it, it is still a fault on your reputation. As we all paid for our faults, you need to pay for yours.
If you think you're taking my child off me, Lord Orsini, that will not happen. I can assure you, I will negotiate the matter with Ulrich, and the fault will be mine to answer for, but Irene stays with me.
And what, pray tell, gives Ulrich the authority? He's Baron no longer.
Is he not Hound of the City? Is he not Hound of the City? Is he not a member of this clan who is very well esteemed? Do you not trust his judgment?
I wouldn't have been in it if I didn't trust his judgment, at least enough in certain matters. But he is no longer prince or baron. This is a clan matter.
You wish to bring this to the prince?
Do not wish to bring this to the prince. Why would I? It would weigh heavier on our clan and start a useless debate with the Bruja that we don't have time for. It's a use of our forces. Who I choose to bring this up to is my concern alone. I thought you could be reasoned with.
Reasoned with when you are merely stating that I know what you are after, Lord Orsini. It was that offer you named to the both of us that night. And I know what you want. You look at Irene. I am not a fool.
For clarification, if I may ask what both of you are proposing to each other?
He wishes to see me punished, but I know his intention. He wishes to have Irene for his little... She'll smile at Orsini. Cult.
Let's speak for ourselves and not each other, shall we? That is perhaps where the confusion is spurring from. So, Orsini, what is it specifically that you desire here, as I sense a lot of implications, but nothing concrete?
Well, brother, you know that even though I have exotic viewpoints on certain matters, you know, I am a man of reason after all. And I seek justice and the betterment of the clan in whatever I do. Do not wish to take Lady Alexandris' child as my own. I simply wish for her to be given to a responsible ancillary or elder of our clan, that she may become a neonate whose presence we would not fear would endanger the clan. I am merely one of many in the city who has proven, twice in my case, that I can have fledglings turn into neonates who are responsible enough. I do not wish to corrupt the young to become mystics as I am. It is not a path you are forced upon. Should the abyss not call to you, you can call after it in vain. If you want to settle this here and now, and if you have the authority to do so, brother, then take the child away from Lady Alexandris and give it to Madeline, or take her yourself.
Hold on a moment. Madeline just perks up and looks around. It just seems like she looks to Celine, looks to Irene, looks to Ulrich, looks to Orsini, looks at everyone in the room, and she just says, "Well, Ulrich, I do not believe that you have such authorities, now do you?"
I believe we are debating on a matter that has long since been resolved within our society. The traditions are handled by the prince and those he delegates responsibilities to. We are talking about shifting the accounting of Irene that currently is held over her sire, Lady Alexandra's, to another ancile. This would not be something that I would have authority over, or anyone in the city, save the prince, would have authority over. I do not believe the seneschal has been given the right of to shift the tradition of accountings over other Canaanites yet.
He is the one responsible for our entire clan. This is a clan matter we're speaking about. Our primogenitor should have more than enough authority to do so.
They could assign such individual a tutor, but the legal weight of that would rest with the current authorities within the city.
I believe I already asked Madeleine to help tutor Irene. And she will actually look at Madeleine about her conditions. Haven't I not, Irene?
Yes, my lady.
Well, perhaps I could suggest a compromise. I would take up Celine, Lady Celine on the offer. I would help in tutoring this young one to make sure that this regrettable thing would not happen again. And we can keep this somewhat contained. Orsini, my dear brother, would you not agree that the possibility of this becoming a scandal would become all the greater if we begin to involve the seneschal or even the prince?
Honestly, I was hoping this would be resolved between the four of us.
If I might clarify, it is possible for a tutor to be assigned and responsibilities to be given to that tutor that would in many ways resemble the accounting, and rewards and punishments could be handed out depending on how well the tutor does in their assignment. However, as far as the city is concerned, it has no legal standing whatsoever.
I am more than happy to have Madeleine assist with the tutoring of Irene. In fact, it was a thing I advocated when Madeleine approached. And she'd spread her hands quite evenly, and
Brother, would you accept this as a compromise?
My dear sister, should have I accepted compromise? Until now, we would not have been here. I've seen a lot in my travels. I've trained with some of the eldest of our clan. Compromise is not in my vocabulary. The fact that you and Ulrich, for some mysterious reason, try to fool me with your terms of tutoring, shared responsibility, whatnot, means nothing.
I'm not Lady Argyri's tutor, and I've never pretended to be.
And I do believe it is the same thinking, dear brother, that ended up with Ulrich being the Baron and me being the Seneschal. And
ouch, that's a really fucking harsh statement. I'm half tempted to have you roll for frenzy.
Yeah, that was like,
that is fucking cutting. That's basically just
Madeline will smile.
Yeah, that's. I won't have another comment like that, and I'll say roll instinct, but that just really pisses you off as of right now. You don't have to roll just yet.
The big difference.
My Lord Orsini.
Orsini turns
me.
and he basically his 1 inch away of frothing at the mouth. Speak, child.
You say that you've spoken to Father Louis.
Yes.
But what I've heard from you, the story doesn't add up with my experience, my lord.
And Orsini pulls a chair as close as he can to Irene without getting a reaction from the other 3. And he puts it on the ground backwards and basically leans on his hands. And what was your experience, child?
When Father Louis approached me in the church, I was not aware that he was a Canaanite, nor did he make himself known as such until we had entered his personal church. And you say that he did not know my clan. I did not get to hear his until our second meeting. He didn't tell me he was a Canaanite until, even though I had a suspicion, until after he made me feel those things. He made me drink his blood. And he called someone and he made me drink her dry. And then he sent me off. And after I was staked, matters were discussed. Lord Ulrich here told me to not go to Riverside anymore. He used his powers of domination to make sure I will not. However, a few nights later, I wanted to visit Father Louis so badly that I found myself going towards Riverside and entering despite the powers of Lord Ulrich. He at that time knew that I was a Canaanite, but he did not know what clan or whether I was a fledgling. This is true. But he did not ask either. He did not introduce himself, and he did not ask for any introduction. I, at that point, would have freely given it to him, but he didn't. He did not spoke. He did not ask.
If I
It
might
was
interject one thing, that does sound like what I have heard some of the effects of presence would entail.
I apologize, Dr. Orsini. Please go ahead.
The fact that he used powers of the blood within his domain is hardly something to be held accountable for.
It's not his domain. Riverside is
It is
unclaimed,
not. It is
and
not
the
his
prince
domain.
has not
Yes,
granted
we
it
know.
to him.
And Riverside is no clan's domain.
Yes, it belongs to no clan. Apart from the princedom, of course, which covers the entire city and several hamlets outside of it. So it would be obviously considered the domain of the prince, but it has not been granted by the prince to an individual or a clan.
I wasn't aware of the fact that there was still unclaimed territory in the city.
There are few, but they exist.
Interesting. Still, it was unclaimed domain. He could have used that powers to entrance mortals. And maybe being older and stronger in the blood than Irene here. She was a collateral victim.
But what he has told you is different to what she remembers. The events are the same, but the recollection is different. You see, he is already trying to cover his tracks. That is her point.
As far as I'm concerned, this is a dispute between two individuals. Cainites argue and bicker all the time over issues they deem important to them and others that they deem completely unimportant to them. It is natural. The only question here is whether it will escalate to a clan level in which everyone involves themselves in this conflict from both sides, which it has not yet reached. If it were, there would be penalties for everyone involved. However, personal conflicts are common and hardly unheard of.
If personal conflicts exceed the confines of a clan, they are no longer personal conflicts, brother. Whether Louis or Irene are lying, whether both are lying, whether neither of them are lying, matters little. There were some actions that were taken via one way or another that could have endangered the silence, that could have endangered a member of our clan, that could have stained the honor of our clan as a whole.
My lord, why
Yes,
would I lie about this?
We have gained the truth of it, both Ulrich and I, through our powers. She is not lying.
I have my own personal investments in this conflict, but it is not long term, nor would I consider it having escalated to a sufficient level as to involve the clan itself. However, I'm a simple hound. What would I know? I do not have the authority to resolve such issues.
don't act modest. Don't downplay your merits, Ulrich. The fact that you no longer bear any title of strong resonance does not make you lesser.
I'm merely offering my perspective. I do not suggest it to be truth. I only suggest it to be what I can observe with the current facts at hand.
The fact that you said you have investments in this conflict interests me greatly.
And that is how it shall remain.
Maybe this is why you decided not to share a matter of clan concern with me or with Madeleine.
If you could clarify.
The fact that you have investments in this conflict tells me that maybe this is the reason why you decided not to share the little event between Irene and Louis with me or with Madeline.
I do not see how it would involve either of you. You were not impacted in any way.
Are we not members of your clan, Ulrich?
Yes, but I do not discuss every detail of my life, good or bad. Because I'm a member of your clan, we lead individual lives with individual problems.
If this is what you want to reduce our experience together to, it is your choice. It saddens me greatly, but your actions are your own.
Precisely what I'm suggesting. I have made, when I was made aware of this, I made arrangements with Celine. This is why, sorry, Lady Alexandra, you would say. This is why Lady Algeri was secure within my haven for a period of time. That is largely as far as my investments go.
So be it then.
I do not intend to war for the clan, particularly when I have larger wars on the horizon.
We all have our own demons to battle, Ulrich.
Yes, demons indeed.
And one of your own is of concern to all of us, regardless of clan. But still, keeping on track. I consider this matter well dealt with, but insufficiently so. I consider this fledgling and her remaining in the custody of Lady Alexandris as a threat to the image of our clan in Edessa. Until proper actions are taken, I stand firm on my position.
And it's very much your right. I don't think anyone would dispute that. He looks
Not
around
at
the
all.
room and yeah.
Yeah, she just sips her tea, not at all smiling.
Well then. I'm rather glad that turned out the way it did. He looks towards a familiar door.
Madeline will just very slightly get up, just look around, and just, well, I do believe we have all said our piece. I would, well, one thing before this meeting is adjourned. If not all of you have heard, I had a run-in with a Lady Roth not too long ago, a couple of days, well, 4 or 5 days ago. She appears to be an older woman with many, well, she calls them her sons. They seem sickly, but they are walking corpses. Myself and another ancilla was attacked under invitation of friendship. She might be one of ours, or she might be something else. I am not terribly sure. She sounds like a necromancer, but I am still finding heads and tails of this. But I managed to escape without too much harm to myself or the other member of the city. But if anyone sees this old woman, do not accept anything she offers you and stay away from her. She is very dangerous.
Is she to be considered fair game, sister?
I would not approach her alone, but you can go ahead, of course, if you believe yourself capable.
I have also determined that creature who is skulking around the slums is using the sewers to move himself around the city. He's also responsible for the attack on the guards in the north.
North of the city or north outside of the city? He said he's using the sewers, so I assume within.
Some sort of flesh creature. No eyes, moves by sight and smell from what I can tell. So he's obviously using the dark to move through. I've obtained permission from Mithril to have a team go down there.
I presume investigation, not
Of course.
apprehension.
Out of character. Peter,
Of course.
check your Facebook.
Oh,
Fucking hell.
sorry.
So we have something underneath the city as well.
By the looks of things, the Zemitzi are very interested in it. Very interested.
I'm sure.
Hmm.
If the Nosferatu are aware of a potential Sombra presence within their domain, I shall send my own informants in.
On this
Not.
matter, I am sorry to go back to things we have already covered, but Irene, my dear, that night you felt, well, unwell. I took you in. Well, I brought you here and had you a refreshment for you, and then I followed you home. You were unwell. We met other members of our blood, did we not?
Are you referring to... I cannot remember, my lady.
I'm quite
Nightmare.
sure that the court jester, Garland, was there. And I do believe that was one of the first times I met Father Louis.
Celine this teacup goes down and she leans forward. Do tell,
He might have deduced from there, that I was kindred and took care of her. He might not have talked to her, but he might have deduced from there that she was indeed kindred. She knew of my association with her. This would prove, well, it would seem less likely that he is as innocent as we would give him credit for. If you knew already that she was kindred, well...
Canine.
If she...
Canine.
All right.
Got him.
Well, that would mean that he had premeditated this.
I'm sure it's a regular routine for someone such as himself.
Then it
Perhaps.
appeared. This Father Louis is not as innocent as he seems.
Oh, well, if he is sure that he is talking with one who is not in good standing or at least connected with the church, he will tell you as much himself. Some, not myself. I find him different from others, but kindred. A Cainite, that's all it is, with his differences, but I do see him as
Was
a person that people would perhaps consider vulgar.
hmm.
So just because he does not have a connection to the church, he is to be blamed.
No, because he told me himself that he prided himself of showing himself to be a creature of sin, a creature of, well, I suppose you could call it debauchery and other things.
I pride myself with the same things, though in other forms. I still fail to see your point, sister.
Well, I was merely commenting on our sister's comment that she is not what he seems. I would agree with her. That is
I
all I
don't
am
think
saying.
any creature on the road of sin could ever be considered innocent in any capacity. I think they would be insulted at the pretense of being called such a thing, but that is merely my opinion.
But claiming his innocence to Lord Orsini, when he already probably knew she was a Canaanite, seems to not put him in the best of lights. Is you not in
Well,
agreement with Madeleine?
there are different things one can be innocent and guilty of. I doubt even a creature such as he could be guilty of all crimes. That would just be, well, claiming too much credit from the premises of his road, at least. Auric seems to speak of his road in a fairly sarcastic fashion.
He did not come to me claiming innocence, Lady Alexandris. He came to me claiming lack of knowledge. Ignorance is something we find ourselves guilty in a lot of different situations.
In which ignorance is no longer applied if Madeleine is correct. He very much knew what he was doing.
That would indeed seem
Perhaps
to
he
be the
already
case.
chose her. Perhaps he already chose her from that meeting and was waiting till she was alone.
Regardless, I believe we have resolved this issue.
Then that
If not,
paints two guilty parties in this situation, and not just one. He of being too eager to indulge in the ways of his road, and your fledgling being improperly attended to, so that his plan could take effect.
Harsh but fair assessment.
do not. But the matter is settled. Madeleine will assist in tutelage, and we will work towards making Irene a better Canaanite.
I
She'll
fail to
smile
see
at
this
Madeleine.
matter settled. It is not.
I'm sorry. I'm gonna have to roll self-control to not say something there.
You don't have self-control, you have instinct. Do you want to ride a friendly?
Instinct.
Oh right. No, I'm just.
Well, I mean, you said you wanted to.
I'm
now
not
you
frenzying.
know. What's going on, man?
I'm just gonna see if Madeline says something to that.
Yes. You do have instinct, that's funny. I'm just trying to see these specific differences and how instinct works. I think it might actually be much more similar to self-control in Dark Ages. Where the hell is instinct on?
Yeah, I botch.
Oh shit.
Okay.
Madeline will just say, regardless of what you think and how you see this situation, I do believe that the matter is closed, and I do believe that we should get on with our lives, right? Our lives. No?
The matter is far from closed, sister. The fact that you try to hide the fault of one of our own angers me deeply.
Indeed. There are quite a few things that anger you, my brother. And I will be here to make certain that your anger does not cause any real harm, real dishonor to our clan.
Are you implying that I might bring dishonor on our clan, sister?
Well, I am simply stating something. However you choose to take it, that I cannot be held responsible for.
I proved, like you did and Aldrich did, to be responsible enough to handle a chowder, to handle a position, and to make sure that not a single smudge of dirt is smeared on the face of the clan. The fact that you wish to protect an incompetent mother while risking the image of our clan.
It is not what I intend to do and not what I wish to do. I wish to make sure that people who make mistakes and the gift they have been granted by the pain that it inflicts on them is directed and sees the lessons that they must learn from these mistakes in the right way and do not take the wrong lessons, the wrong implications from their mistakes. That is all I want. Defend. No, I wanted to guide. I wanted to make sure that this young one learns what she must learn from this. That is what I want. Blame, however wrongly or rightfully it might be to place it, is not of my concern at this moment.
I have drawn my own conclusions out of this conversation, sister. Apparently, this is a matter that cannot be solved politely among the four of us.
I don't think any of us have the authority to really resolve it in the way that you would desire. Of course, I take no sides in this matter. It's not my concern. I have already stated my personal investments in this matter and how they've been handled.
Yet you chose to hide it from us, Ulrich.
Yes. Well, No, you didn't ask. There was no need to tell anyone other than the two parties that were involved, or three parties that were involved in this transaction.
I will give you the benefit of the doubt in this matter. You know that though I'm a strong opposer of your judgment in many, many aspects, you have shown me time and time again that your judgment rings true. If that was your decision as Hound, as La Sombra, and as former Baron of the city, I see no reason why you should be held accountable for it. Though I find it questionable, to say the least. If you feel like this is a matter that cannot be resolved by any of us via conversation or due to lack of authority, you should bring this matter to the Primogen.
You may do as you wish. I will not stop you, be it far from me to do such a thing. If that is the judgment you wish to make, then you are well within your rights to make that judgment.
We have more pressing matters to deal with. I wish this to be resolved adequately and quickly. I can honestly tell you that what our sister told me about this Lady of Wrath concerns me more than any of this trifling matter. Though still, that does not mean it does not need to be resolved.
I believe if any of you do wish to make opposing arguments to this this judgment, I believe now would be the best time for you to do so, and I would prefer it without any provocation towards one another, though I'm in my haven, and I've seen more than one instance of this.
I am happy to work with Madeline, as agreed. If Orsini wishes to go to the Primogen, he may do so. But as far as I'm concerned, the matter is handled together, as a clan. And she'll just smile.
I do not wish to invoke the Primogen. He has so many things to deal with.
Well, if this little gathering of ours is lacking in authority to take a proper measure, and if this little incident might affect the image of our clan, maybe the Primogen should be made aware of this.
Do as you must, brother.
Out of character, what was that bit?
Do as you must, brother.
I suppose it comes down to what authority means within this context. Currently, there have been several proposals made, none of which can be enforced apart from the mutual cooperation that Lady Madeleine and Lady Alexandris seem to have with each other, entirely because it is mutual, and thus everyone is taking actions that they agreed upon. If it were not mutual, it could not be forced, unless there was a boon pulled, which I do not believe anyone is doing in this situation. If we wanted to remove responsibilities and give them to another, that would require, at a bare minimum, Primogen, depending on how far you want to take it, The prince or a number of prominent Lasombra within the region within the context of a blood trial. Of course, that is for much more serious matters than this.
Do you think I dare bother the friends of the night with such a trivial matter? They'll have my head for this.
Precisely what I would consider it ill-advised to do.
It seems the agreement with Madeleine and I seems like the best option in terms of both the clan image and not bothering those who have far more duties than all of us. This is a matter that should be handled quietly. To me, this is the best judgment, if Madeleine agrees, of course.
And I do.
You should smile and nod.
I sincerely hope I'm merely acting as a catalyst for discussion rather than remaining an active player within it.
You've got your own things to worry about, Ulrich. I can see why you wish to handle the matter as quickly as possible. I, on the other hand, who have the luxury to have some spare time to occupy myself with other matters, will handle this accordingly.
I believe that everyone has finalized their course of action.
Madeline just smiles and nods.
You just nod.
So is there anything else you wish discussed while you have us here, Aldrich?
I only came here to return a child to her sire. Well, sorry, he didn't come here. I did not expect a number of visitors. However, I do not believe there is anything else to discuss other than that Lady Argiri and her investigation team has made good progress regarding the domain breaches within the Southall slums in the Christian Quarter.
I occupied myself with investigating our little Ventru friend. But if this matter is more pressing, I could redirect my efforts.
Your matter is of far more importance. It will be our own, Lady Argiri's investigation will be resolving itself, I think, rather soon, in a positive fashion.
I will continue to observe this creature and the hooded cloaks observing around the slums who have relation to it. I would keep you informed.
I appreciate that.
Are you doubting the ability of my spies, Ulrich?
The only thing you'll hear from Madeline on this is just a sigh.
All right, it's kind of like, wait, what? What? Wait, what?
Cedar just
kind of turns to you,
just gonna
looks
stand.
baffled. He doesn't actually understand what you're trying to say at all. He just feels like that came out of nowhere.
He's just gonna stand up. Come, Marlene, I think we've had enough for this evening.
Yes, my lady. And Irene will stand up as well. We'll curtsy to the group. We'll curtsy to Ulrich, like independently. I wish to thank you again, Lord Ulrich, for your hospitality.
I can only hope that you enjoyed the stay. I thank you for your gestures of appreciation.
Yes, my lord. And yes, you'll walk out.
Saying a courtesy to the group, leave a lingering hand on Ulrich and thank him and smile at Madeleine and nod politely at Orsini and we'll follow.
Have a pleasant evening, the both of you. Smile.
And Madeline will bid farewell to all of them and will leave by herself.
Orsini is gonna give Ulrich an insistent look, but say nothing.
Ulrich looks more interested. He does gaze upon you, but he then looks with some degree of a mixture of curiosity, casual interest, and satisfaction at the torches that seem to be fighting off your own shadows. Because this has been happening the whole time, and it's pretty remarkable. No one brought up that fact, but hey, there you go.
And Orsini, being too mad at this whole to observe, just manages to observe the torches as he points to each of them. You need to teach me how to do that at some point. And as he says this, he puts his hood on, gives a small bow to Ulrich. I wish you a good evening, brother. And I hope you're proud of your decision.
Likewise, have a pleasant evening. And he will open the door for you to leave.
And as Orsini just steps outside the door, he summons his familiar powers, the powers of the abyss, and he dissolves into the tenebrous avatar. Probably to Ulrich's surprise. Probably not. And he basically Death Eaters the fuck out.
He flies away. And then he crosses a bridge and the bridge blows up for some reason. That was weird. But yes, I believe with everyone having left, salting all over Ulrich's porch, I believe that is where we can end this scene. Thank you, players, for playing. Thank you, watchers, for watching. We'll see you next time.